All right, I'm back. Now let's talk about uh, utilizing the key group. So, um, on the NPC, right, in the force, you got key groups. Now, the reason why I was suggesting that if you use all the sample base programs, like if you're on the NPC, that would be your drum program, your key group program, clip program, MIDI, um, CB, right? But we're not going to deal with MIDI and CB because that's dealing more if you using this to control outside external sources of audio. So that would be like if you hook up a synthesizer or, you know, I do it off my phone. Like I have apps on my phone. So if I want to make a key group or sample sounds that I made off my phone into here, MIDI will be the MIDI program will be the best thing to use because I can trigger this, or this could use the MIDI that's triggering that to bring in the audio. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the key group. So once again, the only difference between the Force and the MPCs is that the Force has the hype synth, which is the flagship synthesizer of that product. I personally, I don't think it would be wise for them to put that in the MPC, having both, because that's basically what separates the Force from this outside of the physical built of it, but just what each one offers. So as much as MPC users would love to have the hype synth inside their MPCs, I personally don't see them doing that. But if they do, hey man, that's cool. But if not, I got the Force, so it doesn't matter. But to an NPC user, it might be. But same process. I use the plugins, right? I know a lot of people, they're very big on using the NPCs as a controller. This is more from the approach of a standalone. So let's just say, hypothetically, you do not have any expansion packs. All you have is your NPC and the sounds um, that come with it, the 10 gigs of stock sounds and the plugins. And let's just say you have the most recent update, which is the 2.91 in the MPC, and in the Force is the 3.0.6 update firmware. So that means in this you will have, if you go under your plugins, you will have on the MPC, you have bassline, which you can use to create basses and any lead sounds. It's a mono synth. Electric, which we're going to be sampling from to create the key group, right? And tube synth. Oh, electric is like electric piano. So you can really, anything that sounds like an electric keys in the sense of piano, organ, um, the Willer, I think that's what it's called. You can go really in depth. And then you got tube synth, which is like a analog, digital analog synthesizer. You could do some crazy shit with it too. And then, like we covered last time, you got the drum synth. So melodic, harmonic synths, you got three in this one. In the Force, you got hype synth, and technically hype synth, if you going into the Intel, which that's what I will suggest that you start from, the Intel. That means you build this sound up from ground zero up. I already made the sound, but I can kind of go through it pretty quick. It's not hard, or recreate another one, but I already have one kind of made for the purpose of this tutorial. But I could just resample another one and then just show my slight process. I don't want to make it as long as the other video. Um, yeah, so you go to plugins. The reason why I suggest this is because in the MPC and in the Force, you're only allowed to use 9 plugins per project. Okay, that's the max. You can't go beyond that. So And the plugins, if you didn't know, the plugins is really heavy on the CPU. So this is why I suggest that you use the auto sample feature that's inside the MPC, excuse me, inside the MPC to take advantage of um, utilizing your sounds and even create new sounds from the original source that you made from one of these plugins, and use that because it will be less taxing and it will allow you to have more flexibility on the sound you're creating. So let's go to electric, Intel, right? Let's go straight to the plugin. So on it, you can shape the original sound. So that's the original sound, right? Sounds pretty decent. So what you have, same like with any synth on here, you have your envelopes. So you can affect the attack, meaning the initial sound, like how fast does it get whenever you hit it. Does it like for an example, if I turn it all the way like this, kind of fades in, almost like a pad. So like I said, you can make it whatever you want. Okay, we wanted slightly come in. The decay is saying how fast does it take from the attack, meaning how fast it goes from the initial press to full volume, and then the decay is from that peak to where it drops down to the sustain, which in this case I would want to say is the peak length. So you see, so if I lower this, it starts to fade out. Right? So we're gonna increase that. We'll say let's say 7 milliseconds. Right? And then the release, meaning once you take your hands off, how fast does it take for the sound to die out? Now, like I said, we're trying to emulate. You can emulate an electric piano, but like I said, this is sound design. Do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Whatever's pleasing to your ears. So I'm gonna leave it where it's at for it to decay a little bit. All right. Then over here, you can adjust the pickup, you know, the height of it. This kind of go into the ambience. The distance, I always like to kind of have it out a little bit. All right. And then you got bell, which kind of add a little brightness up top. Right, so let's just add 12 semitones. Right, let's make the pickup. And you can adjust the volume of each. Right, the decay, all that. And then you add in a little noise, kind of give it a little bit more oomph. You can add a little bit more static, right? And you can adjust the frequency. So lower that. I don't want that too heavy. And then the rest of it on here is just effects. You can affect the tremolo. Oh, this is good. Settings. Now you can set how many plentifully. Sorry, I have dyslexia, so sometimes my pronunciation is not as crisp. But you either set how many voicings, meaning if you're playing a chord, let's say if we just wanted, oh shit, damn, I done messed it up. Oh well, we'll just do this. I think I can do it real quick. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I had it on the wrong thing. Okay. Right. And then you go to settings. Like I said, this can control how many voicings. So let's say we just want to do a triad, a dyad, right? So you can affect how many voicings you have on it, right? Right. Then you can start getting into the characteristics of your electric sounding key instrument, right? So you can do tremolo, which allows you to do sync or free, so you can have it sync with the tempo of the song you're doing, or you can freestyle it and make your adjustments that way. Um, I'm not gonna do it on on this because I just wanted to affect the bells and the noise and the initial thing. The effects I can probably add. I can add the air effects or the MPC effects on it, whatever you choose, right? So you got tremolo. You could either do panning or tremolo. You can affect the rate, um, how deep it is. You got a tube, so you can boost it. You can add some type of like overdrive to give it more of a like a lot of punch. Like especially if you're dealing with organs or those like real like church. You know what I'm saying? Then you got chorus. You can add chorus effect to it to give it more voices, add a little more color to it. You got delay, you know, and then you got reverb, right? So let's just say this is what we want. We're gonna go to the sampler. Gonna make a new key group. I personally, because I use the Launchpad to play my chords, just because with the MPC I use the Launchpad, but with the Force, it has its own thing. So, you know, with that, so that's why I use that because it just kind of helped me to stay consistent on my playing. I picked the note range. I usually do from B flat 0 to like C6 because on this it gives you a lot of range, you know. Um, and I leave the note stride as it is just to kind of condense the CPU so I'm not like taxing it because you will tax it note. Yes. Now, if you're trying to make a genuine key group that sounds like an actual piano in the sense of like 88 keys, yeah, that's a lot of samples. that's going to really tax the CPU. I usually use one layer, and I keep the note stride as is suggested. I have done it with taking each note, but I know I usually do that if I'm doing a bass line or creating a key group that is bass driven. Because, like, for an example, I might make this key group with the electric piano, but let's say if I go in, I make a key group, or I use the auto sample to create samples of a range of maybe 2 octaves for the bass line, and I can add that to the lower part so you can stack it, create your own like full band uh, key group. Now, if you're playing on a MIDI controller like a Kai MPK2 or MPK3, or a standard keyboard MIDI style keyboard controller, this will be perfect because now you can create ranges and you can even layer your sounds where you might have one section of your keyboard playing a particular sound that kind of overlap with another section that you have, right? So if you kind of like a visual person and you don't want all these different programs, but you want to make one big program, then you could do it like that. I never tried it like that. I might do it just to see how it works. If it works, I'll do a tutorial on it. Leave a comment, let me know. But back to this. So I usually leave the note stride as it is. Like I said, if I was doing a bass line or creating a key group for my bass section, that's not going to be a wide range like that. I usually keep it kind of small. Then I might change the note stride where I have each particular note be a key group. The strides really determine how many key groups you're going to have within a key group program. You can have up to 128 key groups within one key group program. So, yeah, that's mind blowing. You could do a lot, right? I usually leave one layer. I don't want to make this too complicated. Sampling length, note length. I usually do about 5,000 milliseconds, and the tail around the same. Let's call this test. I'm not gonna say this one. Test electric keys. Yeah. Right, you name it. I don't fool with the looper thing. Not really interested in it. And this is gonna take 100 seconds, so that ain't gonna take long. And you just auto sample. Now, when you do this, you set it to resample. I always set it resample right and left, or to give it a stereo effect. Just sounds better. It makes your sound fuller, right? Now, while it's doing that, I'm gonna explain with the key groups. This is why I said, if you're not or haven't really spent much time in it, get to learn it, because with it you can take tones like a mono style synth, like a a Moog, or a Korg type synthesizer, whatever, the names. And that's a mono based synth, and you can make it a poly synth. I think each key group have up to 36 voicings. Maybe have more than that. So you can really take a single type sound and make it into ones where you could play chords, or you could take a chord type one that has a lot of voicings and make it into a lead sound. So it's really up to you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm letting this kind of like, it's almost done. Right, so once it's done, we got it. Sweet. Sweet. So let's go to the program. Like I said, the panipherally can go up to 32. So you can go crazy with this. Like, that's pretty much overkill, but like 32, yeah. So we would leave it at 16. You can adjust the semitones if you want. So what I'm gonna do, I go to all, right? And I like to make like lo-fi music, so add a little pitch to it. The LFO, I like to use sample and hold. That's S and H. And let's add it so that it right. Pad performance. Right. Awesome. Um, Now you can add aftertouch. So if you want to do add a little wobble, which you can't do that with a regular piano. So I always try to crank it. So you could turn an instrument like, oh my God, like the piano, which to me it's necessary, but it's to me I personally would not want to play a regular piano because it's so straightforward. It's not very expressive. You can argue with me. I don't fucking care, but I'm just saying for me, it I want to do some crazy stuff. Right? You can add some pan to it. Start creating that wobble. Awesome sauce. Right? And let's go to the filter. And yeah, you can really do some crazy stuff. So let's try the MPC filter. That's part of that sample and hold. You know, it's LFO. So let me lower it so I can get some weird stuff. Awesome. Awesome. Yes. All right. I'm excited. This sounds amazing. Okay. And let's adjust the amplitude envelope just a little bit. You can do a lot. So yeah. All right. And then what I like to do, I like to add effects to the actual program. This can, like I said, I had effects inside the thing, the actual program, but let's add our own. Cause add a little. Wow. Awesome sauce. Okay, let me crank this down just a wee little bit. That reverb is a little too intense for me. Let's crank the feedback just a little bit. All right, that's good. And let's add some color. I want this to sound a little lo-fi-ish. So let's add resampler. Nah, not too much. Nah. Okay, let's add. Let's add. Let's add a pitch shifter just to. Whatever you want to do, man. It don't matter. But okay, let's make this a little lo-fi-ish. Awesome. Hey, so let's make a chord. Let's make a progression. Okay, let's double up. Make this 8 bars. Okay, let me go to pad performance. We're gonna try both ways. Let's pick the key of E flat major. We'll do E flat major. I'm gonna do a progression in here, and then I'm gonna do one on the launch pad. Wow. I like that. All right, let's name it. test. And then we bounce it out to a sample. Now, this is what I was telling him. I will save this progression. But what I will do is turn first. First, let's boost it, normalize it. All right, pitched it up. Time stretch it. And let's chop this up. Let's make it into awesome. Let's make it into a new program, right? Like I said, sorry, this is taking longer than I thought. But, hey, we learning. So go here, right? Let's set this to multiple. All right, let's adjust some of the filters. Right. Okay, let's put it all on mute group. Awesome. Right. Okay. So let me go to drums. Okay, let's do this. You see how I flipped that? Instant vibes. All right. Hear that? Hey. Right. You saw that? So, that's how you do it. Sorry, this is another long ass video. My bad. But, hey, we're learning. And I like to learn. And I like to share. And I like to have fun. And I was having fun. Sorry if it took forever. But yeah, great way to sound design. Okay. What I just did, pure lo-fi, pure jazz hop, pure all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it came from the plugins that came with this machine. I didn't, and this is all standalone, y'all. I'm not connected to any computer or anything. So, and I played the thing on the pad performance. So even if you don't have, like a launch pad or a MIDI controller, you can use the pads to play chords. I mean, yeah, and it came out sounding amazing. I like it. Yeah, let's boost this a little bit. Yeah, so like I said, great way to sound design. And then, like I said, once I made the progression, I bounced it out to a sample and I chopped it up and flipped it. So now I got, tell me that doesn't sound lo-fi. Perfect. And I didn't do anything special. Just utilize the MPC. So like I said, if you thinking about investing in the MPC X Live 1, Live 2, the 1, all I did right here, if you got the latest update, the 2.9.1 on it, you could do what I just did. And you can come up with all types of stuff. So don't sleep on the key groups. Don't sleep on resampling with the auto sampler. Don't sleep on any of this. Okay? I think a lot of people just spoiled from working in a DAW. It's so easy. And with this, it's a learning curve, but it's fun. Once you learn it, I feel like once you learn this, you can take these skills to any machine or any sampler, synthesizer, drum machine, step sequencer, whatever, and be able to work totally efficient. And you could do the same thing even in a DAW. A lot of this stuff I learned from translating a lot of stuff from a DAW to this. And this has helped my workflow tremendously. But like I said, hopefully you learned something and you enjoy, the possibilities of what you can do and have fun. It's sound design. Hey, make your own sounds. Like I said, this is some lo-fi stuff. People like stuff like this. This is what we got. So with that, this is Mike Venus, and I'm out. And I want to say, hey, follow me at Mike Venus on Spotify. Follow me on Instagram at Mike_Venus1 and on Twitter at MikeyVenus2020. And with that, y'all have a blessed day. Mike Venus out.